Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome once again to the Ridiculously Lame Wrestling Show. My name is Tony Squares. As always, I'm joined by Mr. Robert Lentini, a lifelong friend and a man that has been covering this business for the past decade, now a writer for Sportskeeda. Today's show, Bob has been telling me I need to speed up this intro so we get to the YouTube viewers and we don't lose them on the fly. Today's show is all about Forbidden Door, not the Forbidden Door that's actually happening. Nay. We are fantasy booking Forbidden Door. Swerve Strickland, the champion of AEW, came out earlier this week and said, I think there's an opportunity for WWE and AEW to work together. I think both promotions want it and we could see it. I don't know if that's the case. Bob doesn't know if that's the case, but that got our brains thinking. We have TNA wrestlers coming over to WWE. We have CMLL and New Japan wrestlers coming over to AEW. This is the month when not a lot of things are happening. We're pushing forward to the future of SummerSlam and All in London and trying to build those huge shows down the line. But right now, what if we had a Forbidden Door pay-per-view? WWE, AEW, what would that look like? Who would the matches be? Who would fight whom? Who would go over? Where would the fights actually come from? What would the storylines be? So that is our task today. Me and Bob are attacking this podcast. We each have come up with a 10-match card for Forbidden Door, AEW versus WWE. We are going to fantasy book this match right here live on this podcast. Bob is representing WWE. He's going to be looking out for maybe not the best for what WWE can get, but definitely from that lens. I am going to be looking at it from an AEW lens, and we are going to try to come up together the best 10-match card we could possibly get for you, the fans. I cannot wait to dive into this. There are some rules. Bob, I promise I'll let you speak in a second. But there are some rules. One, each match must have at minimum one AEW wrestler and one WWE wrestler. Rule number 2, injuries are on. People that are injured right now, CM Punk, Kenny Omega, they are not going to be wrestling in this pay-per-view because they are legit injured. Number 3, storylines are on. The current storylines happening in both promotions. Liv Morgan and Dominik Mysterio. The stuff happening with Darby Allin. Sting just retired. We're not bringing Sting back for a match in this because these storylines matter. And the rule number 4, my favorite rule, and this is where the negotiations between me and Bob are going to come into place. And this is how we make it interesting for the fan, because if each of these matches, the WWE champion comes in and he wins and he keeps the belt, AEW comes in, they win, they keep the belt. No. Somewhere on this card, one AEW belt has to go to WWE, and a WWE belt has to go to AEW. And we will tell you what those matches are, why they're happening the way they are, and how we build it. So in the future, that belt finds its way back to its original promotion. Bob, have I missed anything?
No, you got it all covered. Let's get right into it.
Let's get into it. Okay, 10 matches we're going to be building right now. And Bob, the way I want to start this off is we're going to fight over a couple of these things. You might have so-and-so doing something. I might have so-and-so doing something else. We got to find out what's best for business. And I think the best way to start this off is, what is the one match on this card that you must have on the Forbidden Door AEW WWE pay-per-view?
Well, it has to include Cody Rhodes, an original EVP. One of the worst moments in AEW history to me is when he said that I will no longer be challenging for the AEW championship if I lose to Chris Jericho. He's no longer in AEW now. I think he can come back and challenge Swerve Strickland for the AEW championship in the main event. And I'm not done. He's going to lose that match to build AEW and just to uphold his own promises, all the bullshit that he spews, all the crocodile tears. He's going to return to the place he helped build and put over their champion, because they desperately need it. And if Cody Rhodes is this business mind that he says, and he cares so much about AEW, even though he left them all behind, he's going to go back and lose to Swerve Strickland in the biggest match of Swerve Strickland's career. And Cody Rhodes will recover just nicely when he returns to WWE. But that's the match I have to have. Cody Rhodes losing in the main event of Forbidden Door to AEW champion Swerve Strickland.
So in this match, you have the AEW belt up for grabs, not the WWE Universal Heavyweight belt.
Yeah, it's just undisputed WWE championship now. They got rid of Universal. I don't know why.
And so that's not up for grabs, but the AEW belt is.
Yeah, Cody Rhodes is returning, saying, I could not challenge for this title while I was here. I'm back now for this one show. Give me that damn title. I built a company. And then I
gotta say, Bob, I thought it was going to be difficult for you to help me get AEW over in a few of these, because I have WWE going over in a lot of these. That's a really good match. I have Cody and Swerve doing two different things, man, but that's a really, really good match, and it makes sense storyline. Can I
Yeah,
pitch you what I have Cody doing and then later what I have Swerve doing?
sure.
I want both of these belts to have matches on this card. The biggest belt in WWE and the biggest belt in AEW. I want both of these belts on the line on this pay-per-view. So Cody
Sure.
versus Swerve was never an option for me for that very reason, because you have to have one of them win, and we're not going to unify the belts. That's chaos. One of Cody's best, if not his best, rivalry, and the reason he said that he would not fight for the AEW championship, I think he holds true to that promise.
Yeah.
And who just came back for AEW that's coming back as a badass motherfucker? It's Mr. Maxwell Jacob Friedman. The
Oh yeah.
storyline in the past for these guys, you could write eons, novels about these two men. And they've already had the lashes in the middle of the ring, all that video packaging that you could put together. And really, when we look back on it, Maxwell got the upper hand in the long run. He owns AEW. He's running AEW in the palm of his fist. And now Cody is running WWE. Max comes out and says, I know I can get you. I know I can get the biggest belt in the world. And I am the face of AEW. I built this place on my back, and I'm coming after the biggest belt in WWE because I know I can get there. That's my main event for this whole entire card, is
It's a hell
Cody
of a-
Rhodes versus Maxwell Jacob Friedman. And in the end, Max can take a loss.
Oh
Cody
wow.
Rhodes wins. If we want to have chicanery, if we want to have stuff happen, if we want to have, the diamond ring come out of his pants, you can bring back Wardlow. You can bring back all the stories from AEW in his past to make this happen. Maybe a new challenger comes out and screws Max up. Who knows? I like Cody versus Maxwell Jacob Friedman, and Cody going over to keep the belt. Now,
I
do you
like
need to
that.
know what I have Swerve doing first, or do you which way do you want to go before we keep going with this pay-per-view?
What do you have Swerve Strickland doing? Because that was all I had him doing on this pay per view. So you might be able to book two matches because I kind of like your idea already better for what I had Maxwell Jacob Friedman doing.
Well, here we go, bud. This is a great one. This made me so happy when I thought of it. Swerve Strickland has been a great champion. It seems like Swerve versus Ospreay is going to become, I don't know, maybe they'll give the big belt to Ospreay and then he fights D-Bry down the line. I have no idea what AEW is doing. We'll talk about that later. But Swerve Strickland right now is the champion. He needs a challenger. Oh boy. All I want out of Swerve Strickland and this challenger is to hear the head of the table come down and
Oh
Mr.
wow.
Roman Reigns himself returning. We haven't seen Roman in a long, long time.
Right.
Roman has been champion for 72 years before he lost to Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, and he's been gone. Solo has taken over the bloodline. All these new people are there. Where is Roman? He says he's talking to Roman. We don't know where Roman is. Eventually, we know as wrestling fans, Roman is going to come back and end up fighting with the bloodline. But how does he come back? How does he come back as the star that he is? He can't face Cody again. We already had that. Let's have Roman go against the biggest belt that AEW has, their best challenger against Swerve Strickland, the champion. And in this match, my friend, I said I want a belt switch in promotions. Roman Reigns wins the AEW Men's Championship
Holy
off of
crap.
Swerve Strickland.
That would be a hell of a story.
Now, the AEW big belt is on Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown. The AEW, the biggest belt that AEW has, the gold monster that they have is across Roman Reigns' shoulders. Are you going to have him be a champion for the next 3 years? No. Instead, on the next pay-per-view WWE has, Roman Reigns is going to face a challenger. It's not going to be Solo Sikoa because they're not ready for that yet. It's not going to be any of the other Bloodline members. They pose no real threat. It's not going to be an Uso. No. It's going to be someone from AEW. Someone that fits in that bloodline but isn't exactly part of the family. A little Samoan for hire. It's Samoa Joe himself. And the next pay-per-view that comes down, it's Samoa Joe versus Roman Reigns. And Samoa Joe, thanks to the help of the bloodline, takes that belt off of Roman Reigns. And we start the bloodline storyline in a SummerSlam. Samoa Joe takes the belt back to AEW. That is my Forbidden Door fantasy booking for the two main belts.
I like your ideas better. I think we should lock those in. Because
Locking those in already.
Yeah, I mean the Cody Rhodes Swerve Strickland would be a really make more sense, I think, to me storyline wise, but your matches are more exciting. We'll get butts and seats. Like that's a Cody Rhodes. Yeah, I like those Cody Rhodes versus MJF and then Roman Reigns versus Swerve. I didn't even have Reigns on my list, if you can believe it or not. I forgot he existed. He's been gone so long. I forgot he was the tribal chief. I thought forgot he existed. But I have an interesting one to throw. Oh, go ahead.
I should say I forgot. Swerve Strickland to protect him, and I'm interested to see if you have this guy on your card on the AEW side. Swerve Strickland to protect him in that match against Roman. He might not necessarily lose clean, but he might. We might be building to a Swerve versus Hangman match at AEW All In London. Hangman might come into play during that championship match. So that's the first two matches on our card. Cody versus MJF. Cody goes over. Swerve versus Roman. Roman goes over and wins the big belt at AEW. Bob,
That
what
would
do
be
you want to
wild.
talk about next?
Well, I mean, I got a bunch of ideas here, none of them particularly great. I think. Well, I'm gonna throw it to the. This is how I would start the show off. Let's set the
Ooh.
tone. Let's
Mm.
set the tone for Forbidden
Mm.
Door with a banger of a fatal four-way match for
Okay.
the Intercontinental Championship. So Sami Zayn will be
Yep.
defending his title against Bryan Danielson,
Ooh,
Chad Gable, and
you
John
asshole.
Moxley. That's where I have Moxley fitted on this card. He's the IWGP champion. I don't give a shit about that
No,
belt
yeah.
on this show.
Neither do
We're
I.
going
Neither
the
do I.
big titles here. Intercontinental title fatal four-way. And the way I have this booked, we'll talk about the Bryan Danielson's promos later, but the
Yeah.
way I have this booked is Bryan Danielson can take the pin because that's all he does in title matches in AEW, and Sami Zayn walks out of it as champion. That was my pitch, to have all four of those guys. Like, that would be a banger of a match to me for the Intercontinental Championship. But you might have some better ideas for Danielson on your
I
card. So go ahead.
I here's the thing. I like that match a lot. I like that match a lot. I don't have Chad Gable on my card, but it makes sense for him to be in this match. Who do you have winning again? Sammy retaining over Bryan?
Yeah. We
Okay.
can do some kind of chicanery in there. Danielson gets attacked by whoever.
Yeah. I have Sammy, Bryan Danielson, and John Moxley each in different matches on this
Okay.
card. So you've now affected 3 other matches on my card.
We
I'm
can
not going
come
to go
back to
through
it.
all of them quite yet. I'll go through my most important one, the one I want to make the biggest case for. But I will say this is very intriguing. Why Bryan and Moxley, though? They are technically on the same team right now.
Because I would like to see that group break up as soon as possible. And as a selfish reason, I would like to see them turn on each other in this match and have a storyline coming out of it between them two. But that was my reasoning. And just because I didn't have Moxley fitted in on anything else,
Okay.
this is where I wanted him in this opening match. And we could swap out Gable, swap out Danielson,
No,
make it a
keep
triple
Gable.
threat.
Keep Gable.
Yeah.
Keep Gable. Keep this match. I have Sammy doing something different, but I have he's a throw-in in the match that I have. Keep Gable. Keep Sammy, and I'm allowing you to keep either D-Bry or John Moxley. I don't know which one. I'm not breaking up Blackpool Combat Club.
All right. Let's. Well, what do you got for Danielson?
Bryan Danielson has been talking about. He talked about it today. This is his last match, last year as a full-time wrestler. He will be retiring. And it sucks. It sucks to know that he will be retiring. And he said he's going to win the Owen Hart tournament and win All in London. But what if we don't make it that far? What if in this match? What if in this Forbidden Door we put his career on the line?
Oh my
against someone from WWE that has been flirting with retirement too. AJ Styles made a mockery of retirement last week on Monday Night Raw. He came out and did the whole fake swerve. I'm retiring. Actually, I'm not. The Mark Henry bit. Let's say Daniel Bryan comes out and saying you're making a mockery of this. Or the past that they have, the matches that they have had, never really in a WWE or AEW ring, but otherwise, elsewhere, they have gone to battle, gone to war. The stuff that you could bring up for this match, if we have D-Bry versus AJ Styles in a real, the loser must retire and leave wrestling match.
I love it.
That's what I have Daniel Bryan doing. Bryan
right.
Danielson. And I have AJ Styles going over and ending the career of Bryan Danielson at Forbidden Door, AEW, WWE.
All right. I actually kind of like that. So let's do triple threat. Sami Zayn, Chad Gable.
Oh, you don't want to add someone in Bryan's place.
No, triple threat's your favorite type of match, right? You got to get
is.
one of them on there. So Sami Zayn, Chad Gable, John Moxley. John Moxley has the match won by hitting whatever this DDT is called now on Gable, but Sami Zayn pushes Moxley out of the ring and pins Gable to retain. Simple, cool, nobody's hurt. Moxley should have won. I like that, and I love that retirement match because I got about four matches I can throw out right away.
So you don't have AJ Styles doing anything interesting?
No, I
More
left
interesting than that. No,
I left a lot of people off this card. I don't know if I did it on purpose or just out of stupidity, but AJ Styles versus Danielson would be a great match, especially with that
some of the women. Let's go to some of the women.
I got a title change on this for the women. I have a title.
Woman?
I have TBS champion Mercedes Moné versus Bayley, old rivals, old friends, the original four horsewomen. Bayley wins the title, leading to
Oh,
another match down the line, and Sasha Banks recaptures it at SummerSlam. So Bayley wins it at Forbidden Door. Sasha Banks takes it back at SummerSlam. We get that revisit that old classic NXT Takeover rivalry between these two, and they have chemistry for days. So that would just also, that would be a hell of a match to have on this card to showcase both divisions.
you got to convince me that's my match.
Oh, great.
That was the first match I wrote down. Bayley
Okay, cool.
versus Monet. That was the first match I wrote down. But you said you have a title change. Monet losing the belt to Bayley. I have it
Yeah.
the other way around, my friend. I have Roman Reigns taking AEW's biggest belt back to Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown. I have Mercedes Moné, who already has the TBS Championship. That's a secondary belt in AEW.
Yeah.
She is now fighting in a belt-for-belt match, the NJPW Strong title or whatever it is at Forbidden Door. She's going to win that match. Remember when Kenny Omega had that run where he was the master of belts? He just collected belts
Yeah.
from all over every company.
That was my favorite time of him.
We both want Mercedes Moné to be on the top of wrestling again, and what better than her to be layered in gold? I have Mercedes Moné beating Bayley here in this match where she plays full heel. We're taking the shades off of what's her face in the front row at NXT, and we're throwing it back in her face, and we are playing the full heel Mercedes Moné. She is the champion, taking it off of Bayley. Roman gets the AEW belt. Mercedes Moné gets the biggest women's belt in WWE and takes it back to AEW Dynamite to flaunt it. And you tell me how you want to take it off of her. I don't care. But that's what I have going on.
Well, yeah, just the same storyline. Just Bayley will get it back at SummerSlam. So we just have a month
or
and
in
a half.
London.
Yeah, whenever you want. I like your. We both had the same idea, but since we did the Reigns title change, I like your idea of Mercedes Moné taking Bayley, so it evens out. At least we have one going one way and one going the other way. I like that.
Dare I ask what you have Will Ospreay doing?
Okay, well, I have Will Ospreay doing something based on a comment he made recently. It was a really interesting story to me how he just said he hated how WWE was utilizing Ricochet. Oh, we're on the same page here. All right. Well, I don't have it for the WWE Speed Championship that Ricochet holds. I have it for the International Championship, Will Ospreay versus Ricochet. Banger of a match, keep the crowd up, but Ospreay retains, and though they could go 20 minutes and potentially steal the show.
Bob, you had Sammy versus now Mox and Gable as your opener. This is my opener. We are on the same page. Will Ospreay and Ricochet opening up the entire pay-per-view here. And this is, I mean, you are right on the money. Him coming out, and all he has to do is come out on a Monday Night Raw when Ricochet is in the ring and start talking the same thing he was typing online, the same thing about how he looked up to Ricochet, the best high flyer of all time, a man who once was called a prince, except now we're doing it as a heel, Will Ospreay. And he's saying, you are not that man anymore. Look at what you're doing now. You can barely last 3 minutes in a ring. You could never last against me. I might not be able to beat you in 3 minutes, but you damn sure couldn't beat me in 30. I want a 30-minute Iron Man match between Will Ospreay and Ricochet to blow the fucking roof off of this joint to open up the show, because these two men can absolutely go at it, and I would love to see this happen. And yes, Will Ospreay is going to retain, but Ricochet is going to look like $1 million during this whole entire thing. I don't care what the stipulation is. I'm right there with you. Give me Will Ospreay versus Ricochet.
All right, I like that. So Will Ospreay, Ricochet, mark it down as the opening match. Then we'll have the triple threat IC title match in like match 5. Now we just have to fill in the blanks here. But I like the opening match versus Ricochet and Ospreay. That's a hell of an opening match. I thought the triple threat IC title would be great too, but that will set the tone for the pay-per-view with incredible athleticism.
Yeah, that match will make Jim Cornette die faster than he expects. That's 6 matches on this card so far. We're booking this a lot faster than I thought we would have a lot more fights here. It helps that we have all this stuff happening. We took care of Bayley already. Let's take care of another female champion. Do you have Toni Storm in your card?
Yes, I have this for the AEW Women's Championship match. And I have an interesting one here because I think she's going to be a huge star. And I have her going against Tiffany Stratton, 2 completely different characters. Do you have that too?
Keep going. Just keep going.
Yeah, I have her versus Tiffany Stratton. I love this matchup. Luther helps Tony Storm retain, and it is another way to boost Stratton's star power. She's like 25 years old.
Uh-huh.
I just think they're just complete polar opposites. You got the Barbie going against the 50s movie actress character. I just think it would be a great match.
And also, it's a war for Mariah May. Doesn't Tiffany Stratton kind of resemble Mariah May in a way?
Yeah.
This protege for Tony Storm, Bob. I have the exact same thing, except I don't have it one-on-one. I
Oh.
have Tony Storm and Tiffany Stratton. Tony Storm versus Tiffany Stratton versus Saraya versus Nia Jax. I have a
Oh.
four-man match,
Four-man.
four-corner match
Yeah.
for this belt. I threw Nia Jax in there because I wanted to put Bianca Belair. I wanted to put someone that I liked more, but really, we both know it would be Nia Jax. Like,
Yeah.
Queen of the Ring, she just steps into this match. And Saraya is now in the storyline with Tony Storm. It looks like they're going to be fighting to a head. So I'm fine going either way here. But and we both have Tony Storm retaining, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so what do you want? The one-on-one or the four-way?
I like the four-way, get some more star power in there. I don't have I do have Belair and Cargill on my card, actually. We can get to that next if you want.
You have a women's tag team match?
Oh, I have every single match on my card as a title match because there's so many. And I hate this match, so we can just throw it out, actually. I have a women's tag team championship, Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair versus Chris Statlander and Sky Blue, the two new heel team. They team up. That's just a throwaway just to get Jade Cargill back on AEW, but we can just throw that one out. I don't like it now that I'm saying it. Because I don't really care about Sky Blue versus Mercedes Moné, and Statlander I want to see as a big heel, but she beat Jade Cargill to take the AEW championship in her final match. It would be a bit of a redo of that, but that's just, we can put that on the burner in case we got nothing else. That's just
in case we need a filler. In case we need the Acclaimed on here. We got some
I have the Acclaimed
matches
on here. I have
no,
the Acclaimed.
You don't.
Yes, I do, baby.
You don't.
Yes, I do. Do you want to hear my another throwaway match? Yeah. WWE Tag Team match. Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. A-Town Down Under versus the Acclaimed. Loser has to break up as a tag team. No title on the line. Just, I hate both of these teams. I'm ready to separate them both. Loser has to break up. Billy Gunn can betray Max Caster during the match and say, I want to do something else with my life. I'm tired of hanging out with these schmucks. And that was my pitch for that match. We can skip over that one too. Let's hear some of yours.
I gotta say, you convinced me with the loser needs to break up.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's good shit. Okay. Let's talk about another big star in one of these companies that has not made our card yet. We have 7 matches, only 3 remain. What do you have Gunther doing?
Okay.
Can I tell you what I had him doing first? Is he on your card?
Yes.
So I had him facing Jon Moxley.
Oh.
No belt, no nothing. Just 2 guys that are gonna fucking destroy each other. And obviously Moxley, I really like you putting Moxley in that other match. I think he brings a lot to that Sami Zayn Chad Gable match. So I'm fine not having that. But that's what I had Gunther doing. What do you have Gunther doing?
I had Continental Classic Champion Okada versus Gunther in a bragging rights match. No title on the line. Continental Classic Champion versus the King of the Ring. Just 2 elite athletes. This could also open the show too. It's another banger of a match. Chops to the chest. Just beat the shit out of each other. You can get Moxley in the other match. That's the way I had it. But we could put Okada in the Intercontinental Championship match too. But I like Okada versus Gunther. I'd love to see that personally. That's just
Bob. That's good. Bob, that is good. And who wins if there's no title on the line?
I think you can. Ooh, man. Oh man, you have to do some sweet talking to get WWE to let Gunther take that loss. But I would do Gunther. Yeah, I would have the Elite interfere, and I would actually no interference. Okada needs to look like a heel badass, not just relying on the Elite. Okada just flat out defeats Gunther in like a 25-minute match, and they shake hands after. That's how I would do it.
That would be something else. Give me 1 second. I want to see how many WWE stars we have going over already versus AEW stars, because eventually we're going to have to make this even. That's just how this game works. That's 4. Monet, Ospreay, and Tony Storm. Yeah, right now it's 4-3. WWE is leading.
All right, give Okada this win.
Sami Zayn and AJ Styles. So Okada winning over Gunther would even it out. I really like that. I'm gonna have trouble. I'm gonna have a lot of trouble trying to convince you otherwise here. But let me say what I had Okada doing.
Okay.
Oh man, it really
Just
hurt when what's his face it really hurt. I had a whole plan on how I was going to debut this, but I'll go quicker. It really
all right.
hurt when William Regal left AEW and went to WWE. It really hurt NXT when William Regal left NXT and went to AEW. You know why? Not because he's a great mind, a great wrestler, a great person, but we lost him saying war games.
Yeah.
And that's what I want on this pay-per-view.
Oh.
I want the elite.
Oh
Nick
wow.
Jackson, Matt Jackson, Okada, and Jack Perry in a War Games match saying that they are the best. They are the EVPs. They represent AEW. They just beat Team AEW. Now they are Team AEW.
Oh.
Falsely, no one believes it, but they themselves believe it. They get shirts, they get merch. It all says Team AEW in that Young Bucks, bright colors, the shoes, all that bullshit. And they want to take out WWE playing the bad guys. And so WWE puts up a foursome that they think can contend. And it's a foursome that has some history with the Young Bucks, with Okada, with Jack Perry. The first one is KO. The second one was Sami Zayn. The third one was Randy Orton. And the
Ooh.
fourth one was Jey Uso. Now, Randy Orton has said he doesn't like indie wrestlers. He's made fun of the Young Bucks before in online commentary. KO and Sammy obviously have huge past with the Young Bucks and others. And then Jey Uso was there just because he was there. That's what I had Okada doing, a War Games match, the Elite versus Team WWE. But I really like Okada versus Gunther better.
Yeah, I mean, my idea for the Young Bucks sucks. So we
What was the
we might what did I have here? Jesus Christ! Oh, the Young Bucks versus the Usos with Jimmy Uso reuniting with Jay, and then the Young Bucks, the Elite, cutting a deal with the Bloodline, the new version of the Bloodline, to screw over the Usos in the match. The two power heel groups in each company cutting a backstage deal to help them win the match, but we're at a bit of a standstill here. What do you want to do for this War Games? If we get Young Bucks, and who could we replace Okada with against Gunther?
No one. That's the problem. Okada versus Gunther's the match.
Yeah,
Okada versus Gunther's the match. That's getting butts in seats.
well, we
Throw
could do
away
a
the War Games idea.
we could do a
Uh,
6-man with the Young Bucks and Jack
no,
Perry
I want,
versus.
I want, I want the Young Bucks to go back to their old ways, be the best tag team in the world. And who has been the best tag team in the world in WWE? It's not the Usos. I'm sorry. I'm not letting you fantasy book the Usos back together. It's the New Day. Yes, it is. And I
Oh,
want the Young Bucks versus the New Day. I
they're
don't care who
breaking up
wins that
soon.
match.
They're
Huh?
breaking up soon. It could be their breakup. They're breaking up soon. The New Day. They're teasing it on Raw, so it could be their final match. The Young
Give
Bucks
me
destroy the New Day.
Give me the New Day with Big E at ringside versus the Young Bucks with Jack Perry at ringside as a tag team match, and then give me Okada versus Gunther, and that's matches 8 and 9 on this 10-match card. You good with
Oh,
that?
yeah, yeah, I
And
like
then
that.
Okada goes over, and then
Yeah,
what do we do? New Day goes over, or Bucks go over?
a Bucks.
All right, so AEW has 5,
Okay.
WWE has 4. We need one more match
All right.
on
Well,
this
this is
card.
the only one I have left.
And I have one left too that hasn't involved anybody we've talked about yet. What is yours?
Mine is I don't like I said I left a lot of big names off this card just because I just did. But I wanted to focus on who has the titles at the moment. Logan
Uh-huh.
Paul is the current
I
United
tried.
States
I
champion.
tried so hard to get Logan Paul on this card. I couldn't do it. I'm interested. What do you have?
Well, I have him against AEW's mascot, Orange Cassidy, for the United States Championship, with Logan Paul retaining in a hard-fought match. maybe another backstage deal with Don Callis. Logan Paul cuts a deal with Don Callis to screw over Cassidy. But yeah, that's
Logan
how
Paul would make a great Don Callis guy.
yeah, that's what I had. That's the final match I had written down. So
Oh,
what do you
actually, I
got?
had 2 matches here.
Okay, let's see. We got one more, but mine kind of sucks.
We got one
Logan,
more spot. One more
yeah.
spot. One of them is Logan Paul versus Orange Cassidy.
I didn't have Drew McIntyre on this card at
The
all.
other
Do
one
you?
is Drew
All
McIntyre.
right.
I have Drew McIntyre because I needed him on the card, and he's facing probably one of my favorite characters in AEW, and a guy that the promos are just going to be great. I don't know if the match is going to be great, but it was Drew McIntyre versus Christian. And Drew
Ooh.
McIntyre overcoming all of the, kill switch and Nick Wayne and Mother Wayne. And I'm sure CM Punk would interfere in some way. The past that he has with Christian. D-Mac versus Christian was one of the matches we can go with. So we got Logan Paul versus Orange Cassidy. We got D-Mac versus Christian. My third match. And it's funny, all these I have WWE winning. So it fits the thing that we need for WWE to win. One of the biggest things I loved about AEW that they've gone away from is the fact that they were building these so-called 4 pillars of AEW. And that matters so much to me because these guys were truly built by AEW. They didn't have a past in WWE. They didn't have a past in NJP, New Japan. They didn't have a past in all these. They were small indie promotions till they came to AEW, and then they were made there. AEW is the reason we know them.
Yeah.
And so I want to have a pillars match. I want to have an AEW versus WWE. Since we took away the Elite versus Team WWE, we don't really have any Survivor Series type brand match here, and I think this could be it. We have the pillars of AEW versus the pillars of WWE, the next generation, keyword NXT.
Oh.
And no, these guys aren't in NXT, but they recently came from there. You'll get in a second. The pillars are Darby Allin, a returning Sammy Guevara, and a suddenly good guy Wardlow versus Carmelo Hayes, Ilya Dragunov, and Braun Breaker.
I mean, all right.
That is the pillars 3-way, 6-man tag that I have, and I do have Braun Breaker pinning probably Sammy Guevara to win the match for WWE.
Well, the in storyline, Braun Breaker has essentially murdered Ricochet the past 2 weeks. And on Raw, so that might be tough to get them all on the same room, but it could happen. But technically, they are the pillars. I mean, well, who is it? Braun Breaker, Ilya Dragunov, and who?
Carmelo.
Oh, I don't know why the hell I was stuck on Ricochet. Braun Breaker and Dragunov aren't friends, but they can patch it up. They're both heels naturally. I like that idea. I like that.
I think it could be kind of like a authority figure for each promotion gets these guys on the same side type thing, and it's a will they, won't they? Maybe Wardlow costs Sammy and Darby the match. Maybe someone beat. They don't have to stay friends during this whole entire thing. It's a Survivor Series build. We know those don't always work out, but out of those 3 matches, Orange Cassidy, Logan Paul, where Logan Paul goes over. Christian versus Drew McIntyre, where Drew McIntyre goes over. Or the pillars, 6-man, Sammy, Guevara, Darby Allin, and Wardlow versus Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes, and Ilya Dragunov with the WWE squad going over. What's our 10th match on this card, man?
I don't know. Well, what do you have? Jack Perry. He's one of the pillars. You have him ringside with the Elite.
I do. He's gone. There's no saving Jack Perry.
Well, I kind of like Adam Pearce suspended Braun Breaker for his attack on Ricochet a couple weeks ago. I like him forcing Braun Breaker to work with Dragunov in this match and saying, look, we're going to have to suspend you for months if you keep doing this. You're working with these guys and helping us defeat Team AEW. So I kind of like that storyline with Pearce getting involved. Maybe have Christopher Daniels barking at Team AEW or whatever. Yeah, I like that. Throw that in there. And because the Logan Paul versus Orange Cassidy is a good buy-in match. It's a good kickoff show match. We can just throw on there, and then we can just go with those 10. So I like it. I think we have a decent show here.
So, dude, apologies to Drew McIntyre. Apologies to LA Knight. We didn't even mention him. Apologies to Christian. Apologies to Daniel Garcia. A lot of Claudio. A lot of great guys that are Jay White. Nowhere close to making this card, man. Chris Jericho. That wasn't too hard to cut him. House of Black. A lot of guys did not make this card, but hey. The final card, and I'll run it through quickly because I know we still got main topics and gimmicks to go through. This is the Forbidden Door pay-per-view, AEW versus WWE. The card is as follows. Cody Rhodes defending his championship against MJF. Cody Rhodes goes over. Swerve defending his championship against the returning Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns wins and then ends up losing it to Samoa Joe with help from the Bloodline on a later date. Sami Zayn has a triple threat match between Jon Moxley and Chad Gable. He retains. Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles in a retirement match. In the last match of Bryan Danielson's career, AJ Styles goes over. Bayley versus Mercedes Moné, throwing it back to Brooklyn. And Mercedes Moné adds to her collection, takes that gold, and then later on in London maybe gives it back to Bayley or someone else. Will Ospreay challenges Ricochet, says you aren't what you used to be, and they have a banger of a match, maybe a 30-minute Iron Man match. We didn't really figure that out. It doesn't matter. Ospreay goes over. Ricochet looks like $1,000,000. Tony Storm in a 4-way match versus Tiffany Stratton, Saraya, and Nia Jax somehow made this card. Tony Storm retains. Okada versus Gunther, and probably my favorite match on this card, and Okada somehow goes over. I'm sure Triple H is fuming right now. What was this one? The New Day versus the Young Bucks in a best tag team in the world match. FTR nowhere to be found, and we have the Young Bucks going over. And then finally, the Pillars 6-man, Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, and Wardlow versus Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes, and Ilya Dragunov with the WWE team going over. Bob, I have to say, job well done.
Yeah, that was fun as hell. That actually came out better than I thought it would, and I wish Tony Khan will take some of our advice moving forward with his booking, but I doubt it.
Let's move on quickly, talk about some of the main topics of the week. We're going to burst through this because we've taken too long with the AEW WWE Forbidden Door part, but just 3 topics today. And the curtain jerker is Liv Morgan and Dominik Mysterio, or Kissing. Bob, what's going on here?
Well, they kissed last week. Dominik Mysterio wanted nothing to do with it. They opened the show this week, Liv Morgan, with like hot red lipstick on and like booty shorts, looking like a absolutely like a I don't know what character she's going for here, but it's working. And Dominik Mysterio comes out to confront her, and then turns into like a bumbling idiot because he just can't handle her sexiness when she's walking towards him, and he's backing up in the corner. She's rubbing his chest. Finn Balor has to sprint from backstage to break it up just to push Morgan away. And then, like you said, she Liv Morgan after the show liking every single Dominik Mysterio post. They're really going all in on this. And there's some people upset about this storyline. I saw that they wouldn't do it the other way around if it was a man. Whatever. It's a fun storyline. Lighten up, Francis. And I just think it's great when Rhea Ripley returns. They have a built-in storyline, and I think Dominik Mysterio is working with Liv Morgan, but we don't know. I just love this type of storyline. That's all I have to say about it. Go ahead.
I think it's fantastic. I think it's been perfectly done. I think it's entertaining, and I think it's enthralling in the storyline perspective. And my favorite part of the social media part of it is something that you left out. Dominik Mysterio shared the video of her liking every tweet, and then on that post, Liv Morgan comments, "I love it when you show me off." This is funny. This is funny. God. This is funny stuff, and I think it's going great. Now, what happens in the future? We didn't care enough to put them on this AEW WWE card, Bob. Right. Is that because the storyline is too WWE centric? We don't want to see them get in the sandpit versus everyone else. Are they entertaining enough on their own?
Yeah, I think so, and that's why I left him off, and that's kind of the reason why I didn't even have Drew McIntyre or Damian Priest. Damian Priest is the world heavyweight champion. We didn't even mention the whole discussion for Forbidden Door. They're just too ingrained in those storylines, and you don't need them on Forbidden Door. And yeah, I just think I don't know how long Liv Morgan's going to hold on to the title. I'm sure she's going to lose it quickly when Rhea Ripley returns. But for what this is, I'm really enjoying it.
Let's move on to the mid card. Only one mid card topic today, and it's kind of an open discussion point and something that we've been battling for a while. But it starts off with recently NXT had a great rating, has been popping a great rating for a while. And yes, this is the Dave Meltzer conversation, ratings and TV and how do you judge it? We get it. But the fact of the matter is a lot of money is being thrown around. We just saw the NBA get huge deals from all these new companies because of the ratings that they get. AEW is trying to secure a new TV deal themselves, negotiating with the same company that just lost the NBA. So ratings matter right now in the world of wrestling, and NXT just beat Dynamite and has been doing really well. Dynamite has not been doing well. It is getting scary out there. And this week's Dynamite in particular, one of the reasons we're having this show and the first half hour of this show did not talk about the week of wrestling that was because Dynamite in particular was bad. It was just bad, and it has been getting bad, and it is losing a lot of faith in the wrestling world. It's not just the CM Punk bullshit anymore. It has to do with what they're building right now. And even me, the AEW fan on this, I can tell why NXT is winning, and NXT should never be winning. This is too good of a company, too good of a roster, too much money spent in it for it not to be more successful than it is. Bob, what's next?
Well, I feel like AEW has lost the plot a little bit here. You have to you can appeal to your hardcore fans, but you have to appeal to the broad stroke casual audience. You tune in this product tonight and you see these CMLL, whatever the CMMLL guys in these masks, and you don't know any of their names. Like WWE did a very good job of introducing who Jordan Grace was when she appeared. She's the TNA Knockouts Women's Champion. They talked about her. She was at the Royal Rumble. They made her feel like a big deal. And Bryan Danielson's promo tonight, he just referred to them as the CMML, whatever the fuck the promotion's name, CMMLL. I'm done with trying to say it. CMLL. He referred to them as the CMLL guys. You need to build stars. That's not building stars. That's just grouping up. Look at these guys over here. They're good overseas, but none of your American audience knows it, and they're just losing the casual fan. I know that's kind of like a mythical term. I don't even know what it means. Casual fan.
It's not, because even the opening of Dynamite, MJF comes out. You're returning star. This guy is your company. And yes, you don't have to have him fight for the belt right away, but who's the guy that challenges him? It's Roosh. We haven't seen that man in forever. And no offense to him, he's a great wrestler. He's not good on the mic. And so you have him talking as a challenging threat. Yeah. And yes, it ends up in fisticuffs. Yes, it ends up in a pull-apart brawl. That is, I guess, enticing and a build. But what you have a roster of millions, and that's the guy you pick to go against MJF, who the casual fan won't know. I don't know. I watch AEW every week, and I don't know what the last time Roosh wrestled and who he fought and who he beat and why he's important. And yet that's the guy you pull out. I hated a lot of it, man, and I'm really sad.
Yeah, and I thought another annoying thing was MJF wasn't even on last week's show. Like he was on Double or Nothing, and he just wasn't on last week's show. Like they just advertised his promo for tonight. Like have him open last week's show. That's the big thing everybody wants to talk about. I don't know. There's not a ton of buzz around AEW right now, and I don't know what the solution is while Tony Khan doesn't have a filter. If nobody's just saying, dude, dream matches are great, man, but you got to build some stories here, and you got to get people connecting with some characters. There's a lot of times when I'm watching Dynamite where I'm just sitting there like, yeah, this is a good match, but I don't give a shit. That happens way too often, so they need to change something. But that's that on that. My thoughts on Dynamite. Something has to change, but I don't know what, and I don't think anything's going to change anytime soon. So
let's move on to the main event. And this was a really good part of wrestling this week. And we talked about it earlier in our Forbidden Door pay-per-view fantasy booking. It was AJ Styles pulling the Mark Henry, coming out and saying, maybe it's not time for me to be a phenomenal wrestler, but rather to go home and be a phenomenal father. And then it was all a ploy to get Cody Rhodes in the ring and come after him again. This was a match that they had in Backlash that drew a 5-star rating from Dave Meltzer for whatever that's worth. And it seems to be this is the road we are going down again. Bob, this popped you.
Yeah. I referred to it as a turquoise suit. It was baby blue. I've been corrected. AJ Styles was wearing a baby blue suit during that promo. But I thought this was great because Mark Henry, the timing of it is very interesting. Mark Henry left AEW, did not re-up his contract. These are the type of guys that I want in AEW, by the way. Mark Henry. Like, this is the type of guy I want. I don't know how you feel about Mark Henry, but he does good work with community outreach. And he's I just think he's an old school veteran guy. And I don't want everybody to have the same mentality. I want a mix of some old school, some new school, so they can bounce ideas off each other. If everybody just agrees with the Young Bucks or that or Tony Khan's vision, like, what are we doing here? We need to have a discussion. We need to have some people who say, wait a minute, that sucks. And Mark Henry would absolutely open his mouth and say that fucking sucks. And I think that's why he's not there anymore and decided to leave. So I think it was a nice little tribute to Mark Henry. I love that original segment with John Cena back in the day, and I'm excited about Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles again. I don't know if they're doing it at Clash or they're going to hold off till SummerSlam. They haven't announced when that match will take place, but I'm looking forward to it. And I really enjoyed this segment because AJ Styles is a terrible promo. He really is. But I thought he was really funny in this with the fake crying. I thought he knocked it out of the park on this particular one promo of his.
And good for AJ, man. He deserves it. He's one of the best in the world. Literally, he's the phenomenal one. Like, he is. Yeah. He lives that moniker. He is that guy. And so good for him to get back into the spotlight once again. This is better than Cody Rhodes facing, I don't know, Shinsuke. Like, I'm very excited for this match. But that is it for the topics of the week. Let's quickly go through the gimmicks of the week. Again, a short show on this side of it because we had the fantasy booking, but we still have some gimmicks, including a sad one to start us off. The get well soon of the week. It is Asuka. Bob, this sucks.
Yeah, she hasn't wrestled since Backlash when her and Kairi Sane lost the women's tag team championships to Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. I didn't know, nobody knew what was going on. It was just like this rumored injury, and then she posts an update in a knee brace. Still don't know today on social media. Still don't know what that injury is, but you're not in a knee brace if you're returning soon. So I'm expecting Asuka to be out for a while, and this sucks because I'm a big fan of Asuka, and I still can't believe she's 0-6 at WrestleMania. Boggles my mind how they mismanaged that. It really frustrates me. So hopefully she gets back and gets a freaking win at WrestleMania, Triple H.
All right. Yeah, we're throwing daggers today. Let's start with a new gimmick. This one's fun. We wanted to start, celebrating some of the promos that we hear week in and week out on wrestling television. And sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not so good. So this is the Thrinoli promo of the week.
Thrinoli.
And it goes to your boy Carmelo Hayes. What happened here?
Well, Carmelo Hayes, a first-round draft pick for SmackDown, the former NXT champion, future of the business, future of WWE, has had a rough start. It lost to Cody Rhodes in his first match, was eliminated by Randy Orton, I believe, in the King of the Ring. But he's got a little little beef going on with LA Knight, and they had this backstage segment, and Carmelo Hayes, he was talking about Logan Paul. He wants to face Logan Paul for the United States Championship. He referred to Logan Paul as LA Knight right in front of LA Knight, and LA Knight responded, well, get your freaking name right. We'll just play this here.
No, if I was facing LA Knight, I'd be looking in the mirror. That was his first line.
Well, if I face myself, I'd be looking in the mirror. You're talking about Logan, right? Yeah, let's get it right. Get your names
right. Yeah, so
right.
just LA Knight just schooling Carmelo Hayes on live television, just giving a veteran just making just an example of a young talent. I thought it was great. I hope Carmelo Hayes learned from that. But that was this week's worst promo of the week, because it was an awful mistake to make on live television.
Speaking of young people, we do have the Gobbledygooker debut of the week.
There it is. What is it?
And it was someone named Kiana James. I don't know what she did.
Triumphant debut. Kiana James made her Raw debut. She defeated Natalya, and after the match, what the hell is Sonya Deville? If you remember her, Sonya Deville. She's back too. She just hasn't appeared in front of the crowd. She's just walking around backstage.
Let me check. She didn't make it on our Forbidden Door card. I see.
No, okay. She's trying to build a new stable. And after this match, Natalya and Sonya Deville had a conversation. And Natalya said something needs to change. So if that has you intrigued, Natalya has to change something. Wow. Well, we got a show for you on Monday nights. But I don't care about Kiana James that much. But congratulations to her on making her main roster debut. We'll see if she's still on the show in a few weeks. It was a hell of a debut for her.
Social media superstar of the week once again. It's like R-Truth with the 24/7 championship. Yeah. Drew McIntyre wins it.
Yeah, this was awesome. He was doing a tour of the new WWE headquarters and had CM Punk's face plastered on the screen right when you walk in, with tears in his eyes when he was announcing his torn triceps injury. Just Drew McIntyre doing an expert job of keeping his rivalry with CM Punk alive, as the 45-year-old chronically injured man has been out for like 5.5 months now. So Drew McIntyre just carried that rivalry on his back and just set up CM Punk for an excellent return. So kudos to McIntyre. He deserves that new deal.
And then finally, another new gimmick, and this one's a lot of fun. It's the Hardy Pop of the week.
Things are about to be broken.
Yeah, this is when the crowd tells us what matters, man. This is when the crowd chimes in and lets their voices be heard. It's Rusev Day, my friend. And this happened for someone that we did not think was going to get over ever again. But it's your boy, the storyline you've been following since day one, Otis.
Yeah, the greatest storyline in professional wrestling right now, Chad Gable and Sami Zayn. Chad Gable has turned into like an abusive father figure. He's trying to whip Otis with his belt. He's screaming at Maxine Dupree, calling her a dumb Barbie and all this stuff. He accidentally knocked her off the ring apron this week. A lot of ridiculous stuff going on. But Otis, former Money in the Bank winner Otis, who lost his Money in the Bank briefcase in a court case to The Miz, he stepped in front of Chad Gable and got one of the biggest pops of the year. An electrifying pop just for Otis standing in front of Chad Gable. If you would have told me like 2 years ago that Chad Gable would be in this position to get this type of heat and Otis would ever get this babyface reaction again, I wouldn't have believed you. This storyline is just working magic. I have no idea why it's working so well. I have no idea why it's benefiting Otis of all people so much, but I'm happy for the big guy. Good for him.
I am too.
Great.
I am too. And that is it for the gimmicks of the week. Now let's finish the show with the headline. This is where we tell you this is what the world of wrestling is going to be talking about at this point next week. Bob does WWE. I do AEW. Bob, you're up first. What is the WWE headline for next week?
Well, I think we kind of touched on it with the NXT ratings. Like the WWE TNA partnership right now is overshadowing Forbidden Door for me. I don't know if everybody feels that way, but that feels like they're taking the steam away from AEW with that Forbidden Door pay-per-view, with having TNA stars show up in NXT, and it's working so well. So that's my just headline, is just whatever WWE is doing with this Forbidden Door of their own is somehow working more than AEW, and it's frustrating. As a WWE fan, it's frustrating me.
Now I hear you. My AEW headline is next week, Domingo Jr. debuts from CMLL. No, I have no idea who that is. Next week, my headline is going to be, listen, I think this Daniel Bryan promo that he gave was the best part of Dynamite, and I'm looking forward to the Owen Hart tournament and the story of D-Bry. Can he get back to the top? Can he fight for a title? What will he be doing in London? So my headline will be, Daniel Bryan is the storyline that is the driving force of AEW starting next week in the Owen Hart tournament. And that is it.
I hope so.
For this week on the Ridiculously Lame Wrestling Show. Next week, we'll be talking all about Clash at the Castle. I hope you enjoyed our fantasy booking segment. We will be doing some more of these one-off fun shows in the future, but that one was a lot of fun. And as we end this show, Bob, this week, we need to talk about a man who didn't make our card, but maybe could in the future. It's this week in Ryback.